RRF Caserta.
South Italy, in English language.
It is March 17th, 2026, and depending on where you look on the map today, humanity is either, well, sprinting toward a high-tech utopia or just collapsing into the rubble.
Yeah.
In the Middle East right now, we are looking at a massive, unprecedented wave of Israeli strikes hitting both Tehran and Beirut.
It's happening incredibly fast.
Exactly. The reality on the ground is shifting by the minute, and the human cost is immediately visible. There are reports right now of a family completely buried under rubble following what the reporting calls an Israeli-American attack.
Right, and amidst that chaos, high-level targets are being systematically taken out.
Yeah, we have confirmation that Soleimani, the head of the Basij forces, has been killed.
Which is huge.
And Larijani, the head of security and defense, was explicitly targeted and is possibly dead. And while the Middle East is quite literally burning, a Russian drone has just struck Maidan, the absolute heart of Kyiv.
The sheer simultaneity of these events is what makes this moment so historically dense. I mean, when we talk about targets like the head of the Basij forces in Iran, we aren't just talking about a standard military general.
Right, it's different.
Exactly. The Basij is a paramilitary volunteer militia deeply embedded in every layer of Iranian civilian society. They enforce internal social control. So taking out their leader isn't just a military blow on a battlefield. It is an earthquake for internal regime security.
Absolutely.
You have direct strikes on sovereign capitals occurring on multiple fronts, and the diplomatic fallout is instantly reflecting that gravity. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is drawing a very hard line today, explicitly stating, "We will not let ourselves be dragged into war."
Okay, let's unpack this. Because on one hand, you have Starmer trying to pull the UK back from the brink, and on the other hand, you have Donald Trump publicly bashing his allies. His exact quote is, "They aren't there when needed. I've been saying it for years." And then, amidst all of that rhetoric, the Italian government is holding a very firm, specific line. Absolutely no escalation regarding the Strait of Hormuz.
Which makes sense.
It feels like we are looking at a global circle of dominoes. You knock one over in the Middle East, and the ripple effect threatens to circle the entire globe and hit the back of your own head.
What's fascinating here is how that hesitation from traditional allies like the UK and Trump's distinct brand of isolationist rhetoric, how they clash so violently with the reality of our deeply intertwined global security.
Right.
You mentioned Italy's hyperfocus on the Strait of Hormuz. That is not a random geographical detail. The Strait of Hormuz is the quintessential economic choke point of the modern world.
Because of the oil.
Exactly. Roughly 20% of all global oil consumption passes through that narrow waterway. Italy's government understands the mechanics of this. If the conflict escalates and that strait closes, it's no longer just a geopolitical chess match.
It's a disaster.
The global supply of liquid natural gas and crude oil bottlenecks instantly. It becomes an immediate, devastating economic reality for every single citizen filling up their car or heating their home in Europe.
I mean, imagine you're standing at the gas pump tomorrow morning. The price you are paying isn't just standard inflation. You are paying for the very real physical consequences of this tension, which are manifesting in the water right now.
Yeah, literally right now.
There is currently a Russian oil tanker drifting aimlessly. Malta's Prime Minister, Robert Abella, is urgently calling Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, looking for a permanent solution to this hazard.
It's a ticking time bomb.
And as if a drifting, abandoned oil tanker in the Mediterranean wasn't enough, an alarm has sounded, and a massive column of smoke has appeared over the oil terminal at the Fujairah port in the United Arab Emirates. Your wallet is directly tied to a geopolitical domino effect that involves drifting ships and smoking terminals?
This is where the abstract geopolitical maneuvering translates into tangible physical consequences. The energy hazards are multiplying, and the economic impact on the micro level is immediate.
Right.
Look at the data coming out of Sicily. The fishing industry there is risking total collapse. Why? Because diesel prices are absolutely skyrocketing.
Oh, wow.
These fishing boats are now facing daily operating costs of up to 1,100 euros just to run their engines. They simply cannot afford to leave the harbor.
That's insane.
It really is. And when they do go out to sea, the mechanism of survival forces them to push the market price of fish up by 30% just to break even.
So the cost of a basic meal goes up because a port in the UAE is smoking and a Russian tanker is adrift. It's an incredibly fragile web.
Very fragile.
But look at how different governments are responding to this systemic stress. In Cuba, The physical infrastructure has completely broken down. They are suffering a total blackout.
The whole country.
The entire country is in the dark, and it has led to unprecedented riots. We are seeing footage of a crowd literally assaulting the Communist Party headquarters in Iran. That is total physical and social collapse.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, over in the European Union, the response to the energy crisis is, bureaucracy. They're attempting to prepare an anti-price hike shield to protect citizens' energy bills, and they're considering revising the ETS, the emissions trading system.
Yeah, let's actually break down what the ETS is, because it highlights profound contrast in governance. The emissions trading system is essentially a cap-and-trade market.
Sure.
The EU sets a cap on greenhouse gas emissions, and companies buy or receive emissions allowances, which they can trade with one another.
Right.
The idea is that revising these paper credits and tweaking the market rules will somehow act as a financial buffer, like a shield against skyrocketing consumer costs.
Hold on, though. If the EU is building a financial shield for prices on paper, what good is that when the physical supply chain is literally on fire in the UAE or drifting aimlessly in the sea off Malta?
Well, that's exactly the issue.
You can't regulate a barrel of oil into existence if the boat carrying it is abandoned. You can't heat a home with a revised emissions credit.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes the extreme fragility of modern infrastructure and the absolute limits of governance. In Cuba, you see the raw physical reality of infrastructure failure.
No power equals immediate civil unrest.
Exactly. People cannot eat policy. They cannot light their homes with legislation. Europe, with its relative wealth and institutional structure, attempts to manage the crisis through these complex financial mechanisms like revising carbon trading systems.
Yeah.
But as you rightly point out, policy cannot fix a broken physical supply chain. It can only attempt to redistribute the financial pain of that broken chain. The EU is essentially trying to build a dam out of paperwork to hold back a flood of physical energy shortages.
Which feels incredibly precarious for the average person relying on that grid. But, human beings are nothing if not adaptable.
Very true.
When the system starts to fail, we are forced to innovate. And the data shows that these exact energy crises are sparking massive, desperate technological leaps designed to bypass the very dependencies we just talked about.
Right.
For instance, global installations of long-duration energy storage are projected to grow by 49% in 2025 alone. We are furiously building the batteries we need to survive.
The market is responding directly to the geopolitical chokeholds. That 49% growth isn't just a win for green energy. It is a direct national security imperative.
Yeah, it's survival.
Exactly. If a nation or even a local municipality can store its own energy long-term using advanced grid-scale batteries or pumped hydro, they are no longer completely at the mercy of whatever happens in the Strait of Hormuz. Energy independence becomes the ultimate defense mechanism.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because that defense mechanism is changing consumer technology too. Volvo just announced their new ES90, and it is being described as changing the rules of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because it has the ability to reach a half-full battery charge in just 10 minutes.
Wow. 10 minutes.
Think about the mechanics of human behavior for a second. 10 minutes is exactly the time it takes you to walk into a cafe, order an espresso, drink it at the counter, and walk out.
It perfectly fits.
They have essentially engineered a battery that perfectly aligns with a natural human habit, breaking the exact psychological threshold needed to finally kill range anxiety for everyday drivers. You aren't waiting around an empty parking lot. You are just taking a coffee break.
That psychological threshold is the entire key to mass adoption. Technology only reshapes society when it becomes invisible, when it seamlessly integrates into existing routines.
Right.
Fast-charging batteries alter the perceived cost of time. But it's not just energy storage and consumer cars. We are seeing profound leaps in foundational material science.
Oh?
Yeah, there is a report today of a newly discovered type of cement that is 17 times stronger than traditional concrete.
Wait, really? 17 times?
17 times.
How does that even work? Because that completely changes the architectural equation for how we build cities, how we construct defenses, everything.
Well, when they say this cement is 17 times stronger, we aren't just talking about pouring it thicker or making it heavier. They have fundamentally altered the microstructure of the material.
Okay.
Traditional concrete is incredibly brittle. It cracks under tension. This new innovation likely involves infusing the cement matrix with advanced polymers or microfibers, allowing the material to actually flex and distribute stress rather than snapping.
That is wild.
The implications are staggering. It means you can build bridges, high-rises, and infrastructure using a fraction of the raw material.
Which cuts down on shipping all that heavy stuff.
Precisely. It cuts down supply chain reliance, it drastically reduces the carbon footprint of construction, and it creates cities that are physically far more resilient to environmental or man-made shocks.
Right.
We must view these innovations not merely as cool tech advancements, but as deeply necessary survival mechanisms. When the old world's infrastructure starts to fracture, human ingenuity is forced into overdrive to engineer a new one.
But as we engineer that new, high-tech physical world, we are simultaneously dealing with the rotting underbelly of our digital age.
Yeah.
We have all this incredible hardware. What is it actually doing to us on a cognitive level? There was a brand new study showing that smartphone notifications literally shut down the human brain.
I saw that.
The study even offers 6 tips to defend yourself from your own phone. And concurrently, you have a headline featuring the mother of AI, boldly claiming that robots will not replace us.
It's a profound juxtaposition. On one hand, you have the leading minds of artificial intelligence assuring us that our ultimate utility and creativity as human beings are safe from machines.
Right.
But on the other hand, the primary interface we use to interact with the digital world, the smartphone, is demonstrably degrading our cognitive function.
It's frying us.
Exactly. When that study says notifications shut down the brain, it's referring to cognitive bottlenecking. Every time your phone buzzes, your prefrontal cortex is forced to context switch.
Which takes energy.
So much energy. Do that 100 times a day, and you induce a state of dopamine exhaustion and cognitive overload. The brain's executive function, its ability to reason critically and maintain deep focus, effectively goes offline.
I completely struggle to buy into that AI expert's optimism, honestly. Sure, robots might not take our physical jobs, but if our smartphones are literally shutting down our brains with a constant barrage of micro-interruptions, aren't we just making ourselves perfectly vulnerable?
We absolutely are.
We are cognitively exhausted, making us incredibly easy targets for digital exploitation. And the digital crime wave right now is staggering. The reports highlight that the Camorra, the Italian mafia, is currently making 400,000 euros a single day entirely online.
400,000 euros daily. That is industrial-scale digital extortion and fraud. And you are pinpointing the exact vulnerability. The mafia doesn't need to deploy a highly advanced sentient supercomputer to steal your money.
Right, yeah.
They just need to catch you at the end of a long day.
And it is hitting everyone. There is an investigation detailing how online scams are wiping out people's entire life savings. And the victims range from professional chefs to school teachers.
It's everywhere.
It's not just the elderly or the technologically illiterate anymore. The scams are sophisticated, and our brains are too tired to spot the red flags. And some of these crimes are just bizarrely dystopian.
Oh, definitely.
We are seeing illegal aesthetic touch-ups and rogue plastic surgery being sold at a discount on TikTok.
Wow.
Women are undergoing these unregulated procedures, getting severely injured, and then legitimate surgeons in real hospitals are being left to try and fix the physical damage caused by a viral app trend.
That's terrifying.
Or look at Napoli, where a drone literally got stuck on the roof of a military barracks because someone was using it to try and smuggle cell phones inside to the inmates.
This raises an important question about the true nature of technological risk. We spend so much time in think tanks debating the existential sci-fi threat of a superintelligent AI taking over the global defense grid.
Yeah.
Yet the irony of the digital age is that the real immediate threat is simply human exploitation of basic digital platforms.
Right.
Criminals are weaponizing ancient human vices, vanity on TikTok, greed in phishing emails, the desire for contraband in prisons, and using commercial tech like delivery drones and social media algorithms to completely bypass traditional law enforcement and medical regulations.
We are giving them the tools.
We are surrounded by advanced technology, but it is largely being used to amplify basic human flaws.
It really feels like the macro-level chaos, the geopolitical wars, the energy grid failures, the digital overloads trickling all the way down into our daily lives, creating this incredible, inescapable friction.
Yeah.
And society is visibly struggling to cope. Look at the justice system in Italy right now. On a massive national scale, the country is undergoing constitutional changes regarding the structure of the justice system itself. But down on the ground level, in reality people actually live in, the local absurdities and cruelties just persist. There is a story today of an 11-year-old autistic boy who has been sent back to the 5th grade purely as a victim of appeals.
That's just awful.
A vulnerable child's educational and social development is entirely stalled because the bureaucracy is too paralyzed by paperwork to process his educational status.
That microfriction is exactly where the public feels the failure of the state most acutely. You can debate constitutional reform in Parliament all day long, but when an 11-year-old autistic child is trapped in a localized administrative loop, punished by the very system designed to integrate him, the state has fundamentally failed its core mandate.
Absolutely.
The overarching anxiety of a society dealing with economic instability and global war trickles down, paralyzing the micro-bureaucracy. The administrators lose the capacity for nuance and empathy, and they just blindly follow the paperwork no matter who it crushes.
And it is not just bureaucratic incompetence, it is active, banal corruption. Down in Palermo, investigators uncovered a corrupt pact between a mafia boss and regional bureaucrats who literally offered a discount on mandatory environmental tests.
Oh, man.
The quote from the wiretap is chilling. They literally said, "Just do 2, I swear they won't contest them."
Unbelievable.
They are bargaining away the safety of the environment, the very air and water people rely on, like they are haggling over a used car at a flea market.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the human toll of the penal system continues to fracture. A 62-year-old inmate just committed suicide in a Turin prison.
Tragic.
And youth violence is spilling out into the open. A 16-year-old was caught after a series of stabbings in a Pomigliano disco. And the only reason he was caught was because the violence was filmed and posted on social media.
Of course.
The digital world is just a mirror capturing the physical violence.
When you look at all of this, the bureaucratic cruelty toward a child, the absolute banality of environmental corruption, the despair in prisons, the violence in clubs, you are looking at the symptoms of a society under extreme macro stress.
Yeah, everything is connected.
The fabric of a community doesn't usually tear all at once. It frays at the edges through thousands of daily micro-frictions.
So how does anyone deal with it? How do we cope with a completely frayed social fabric?
We distract ourselves.
We really do. We dive headfirst into sports and entertainment to find some kind of predictable narrative.
Yep.
In Napoli, the biggest news of the day is that President De Laurentiis has confirmed manager Antonio Conte will stay, and they are actively hunting for the striker Lukaku.
It's a soap opera.
It is a soap opera, but it's a comforting one with clear rules. And then there's the Baseball World Cup. Italy nearly pulled off an absolute miracle run, eventually losing to Venezuela in the semifinals. But the most surreal part of this isn't the game itself. It's that Donald Trump, watching this baseball game, publicly and bizarrely asked if Italy is a magical victory and if it should be considered the 51st state.
It is a remarkable moment of political theater entirely merging with sports entertainment.
Honestly, Trump calling Italy the 51st state over a baseball tournament feels like the ultimate reality TV moment. It completely blurs the lines between serious geopolitics, sports entertainment, and pure distraction.
It does.
It's almost like the public is so entirely exhausted by the reality of energy crises, soaring diesel costs, and endless local bureaucracy that they eagerly embrace these absurd narratives.
Exactly.
It's no wonder one piece of cultural commentary published today explicitly compares the reality TV show MasterChef to an Orwellian dystopia. We're already living in one, so we watch a culinary version of it to relax.
You are hitting on the exact psychological mechanism at play. Why do we obsessively turn to the structured, highly predictable drama of sports and reality television? Because the real world has become entirely unpredictable. When the cost of diesel can bankrupt a Sicilian fisherman overnight, when a drone attack can strike the heart of a European capital, when an autistic child's life is derailed by an invisible court appeal, the human mind desperately seeks order.
We need other rules.
Right. A football match lasts exactly 90 minutes. A reality show follows a strict, understandable elimination format. These distractions provide the artificial justice, the clear rules, and the definitive resolutions that our actual reality is currently denying us.
When you step back and look at the entirety of what we've unpacked today, it feels like we are living in a split-screen reality.
That's a good way to put it.
On one side of the screen, human ingenuity is shining. We are engineering concrete that is 17 times stronger than anything our ancestors ever built. We are engineering car batteries that can reach a half charge in the exact time it takes to drink an espresso, literally racing into a high-tech, resilient future.
Right.
But on the other side of the screen, entire nations are plunging into the dark because the physical power grid failed. The mafia is crowdsourcing aesthetic surgery on TikTok, and we are still trapped in localized bureaucratic mazes, arguing over how to safely administer a fifth-grade exam to an autistic child.
It forces a profound realization about the nature of progress. As our technology accelerates into the future at an unprecedented exponential rate, is our actual lived human society quietly sliding back into the Dark Ages.
RRF Caserta. South Italy, in English language.